Something to note before we start this podcast, and we do talk about this in the beginning for a little bit, is we completely lost footage of another podcast that we recorded a week or two back, which is very unfortunate. So that would have been episode 63, and this would have been 64, but I think now this has to be 64. But either way, there was difficulties recording, and on top of that, on this podcast, my microphone is going to sound awful. So that's a heads up, but we do talk about some good stuff. This also does mean that we lost the last One Piece that we did with Bradley, which unfortunately was going to be the final big One Piece in the style that we've been making them. Because now we might just do short catch-ups as he catches up to us where we are in the current arc. So yeah, I don't think we'll be able to salvage any of that discussion back, but maybe that discussion will be looped into a future, maybe tier list we do about One Piece or something like that. Either way, hope you enjoyed the podcast. I tried to fix the audio as much as I could on my end. Next podcast should be better because we have a new setup for how we're recording now, and yeah, there's a little bit of fine-tuning to be done. So this is an interesting question. What episode are we on, actually?
Oh, no,
64.
Technically.
74.
We put an Ayakashi Triangle and did not publish an episode because it was too risque.
Yeah, I understood that reference.
Why is Splatoon behind Tyler?
If we get to 600 subscribers, we'll release the secret episode 63.
So I have that footage. It's just me talking because that's what messed up. My audio recorded, so it's just me talking and then pausing and then be like, yeah.
Willer, if you uploaded that on Halloween or April Fools, it would work for either.
Okay, you know what? You might see the hidden episode 62.5.
It's gonna be an ARG.
This will
you know what?
This will be episode 63.
64.
No, it will be 63, but the title will be 64. Tyler, we're not skipping an episode. That's so annoying.
We didn't skip an episode. We made it.
Not to them. That was just us hanging out one night. We were just practicing.
Leave in the comments what you think the title should be.
Yeah, we'll let the people. I mean, I have to decide when it uploads.
Well, we'll do episode X, and in the comments, they can figure it out.
Everything going forward. We just entered the third era of the Roundabout cast because I fucked everything up. The second era was when the podcast got good around episode 30.
Yeah.
It took. Yeah, you know. Okay. We can address what we talked about briefly. Tyler went on a nice Harry Potter rant. That was fun.
Oh, that was the most fun.
Unfortunately, y'all missed some Kino conversation.
Strong opinions about Harry Potter.
That's the thing. It was mostly because Tyler watched the Harry Potter movies. Damn, I was about to just launch into us doing the whole talking.
Do it. Fuck. I'll fucking challenge
you.
you.
I'm not gonna do that.
No, please don't. I don't have the energy to do that.
Tyler watched the Harry Potter movies for the first time, and
they're hot garbage.
He doesn't like them, and
How did our tier list go? It was S tier, Goblet of Fire, A tier,
No, we didn't even get
movie
anything
2. Chamber of Secrets is below that.
Yeah,
it's high up.
Movie 3 was next, and then 7 was not as low as people would like, as I recall.
Dude. So Bradley, me and Willer started watching 7 Part 2 together.
Oh, fun.
And Willer's like, yo, I'm into this.
I was kind of into it. I was like, plot is happening, which is more than I can say about any of the other movies I watched.
Yeah. Part 2 is actually fun. I really enjoyed Part 2.
I liked the bank heist, and I liked them prepping the castle for the impending doom of the enemy forces showing up. I don't know.
So here's the thing. It's been a bit. I don't want Harry Potter talk to go on too long, but I have to ask this because it has probably been a year or two since I watched the 7 Part 2, but it has not been a year or two since I read this scene in the book, and I don't remember it happening in the movie. So I think what does happen in the movie is they go to the bank heist at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
and they're there to get the Horcrux, and it has a curse on it where it like multiplies every time you.
They're not melting. You brought this up the last time.
No, dude, that made it so much more scary.
So,
it was
so
like,
yeah.
You talking about Creech?
Bradley brought up that like there was a bunch of goblets or like coins or whatever, but they were also on like melting and molten.
In the book, they are like glowing white hot.
Yeah,
No.
But there's a scene that's also omitted in the movie that's in the book. That's kind of fucked up.
Like what?
They take one of the goblin bankers and hold him hostage, and you use one of the curses on him to force him into the bank.
Nice.
They do hold the dude hostage in the movie.
No, like they use a curse on like the 3 like forbidden curses.
Damn.
They use like Cursia or whatever while they're under Harry's cloak to get them into the bank vault.
Now, so I can now update my Harry Potter movie viewing order. So I was thinking about this. Here's how it goes: 1, and then I think it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 a couple weekends ago, and then second the 8th movie first half, and that is my movie watching order.
Yeah.
We did not finish the last movie, and that's time to go back to 5 now, and then I'll finish part 8 when I get back to it. I don't even know. It's never happening.
Like nothing happens between 5 or 4 and 7. I feel like I cannot recall the plot line.
That's where the one good fight happens.
That's the filler Harry Potter.
Oh, that's the filler, huh? Jesus
Those are the
Christ.
filler episodes.
Anyways, that happened. I talked about Dark Souls, but I'll talk about Dark Souls again. Anything else that happened last episode? I talked about a bunch of movies and TV shows. Some fucked up documentaries I watched with a lot of killing and not great things happening to children.
Cry.
Oh man, the story of Timo Cry is I'm not retelling it, unfortunately. That one's lost to the ages.
Where's your schedule?
The schedule's unfortunately in topic ideas because I'm that bad now at my job.
Okay, no. Last episode, we talked about the Kingsman and the Kingsman franchise.
Yeah, and how Bradley teases me for not liking the ending now. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I'm getting bullied out here. Call the cops.
Ted Lasso is the biggest loss there.
Ted Lasso is a big loss.
Here on our Christian podcast, we do not stand for anal sex.
But you know what?
That's not true, Bradley.
When Ted Lasso season 3 comes back around, we'll have the clear picture, and
that's also supposed to be the final season. So we'll do we'll do something big for Ted Lasso 3. The moral of the is Ted Lasso is fantastic, and Tyler was right this time. Okay.
Yo.
I'll say it officially.
And with Big Mouth.
Name a time I'm wrong.
We will next podcast. Don't you worry.
Next podcast?
Next podcast will be Breaking Bad, so we can talk about
my God. All right, I want to say something.
No, save it.
I was prepared to talk about it this podcast. And this is no fault on Joe for not finishing it. I sped right in and just completely ignored work for like a day.
Yeah,
really.
I worked at the night time. I was like, I'll finish this. I want to watch Breaking Bad. I was fully prepared to talk about it like today. And you know when you finish something like such as quality of Breaking Bad, you're like, man, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And Willer's like, no, we'll talk about it on the podcast. Here we are at the podcast. I've got dying questions.
Oh my God, we can't. We can't. I'll tell you what, it won't be a podcast. We can do it. We can get together for 30 minutes or an hour when Joe finishes and just bang it out like a standalone.
I have so many questions.
Just go watch Better Call Saul. In the meantime, it's on Netflix.
Tyler is so frustrating about Better Call Saul.
This might be a good thing though, because if we have until the next podcast to talk about it,
rewatch Bradley.
Number 1, rewatch. Number 2, do we make sure everyone has seen the movie also?
I would like people to watch the movie. If you care about the story of Breaking Bad, the movie is the final episode of Breaking Bad.
It is the final episode of Breaking Bad.
Oh man, the
actual final episode.
The actual final episode is fire as shit, man.
Tyler, you know those memes about Walter falling on the ground? Now you get to know where they're from, and it's really sad. It's great.
Y'all, cool thing is I didn't have the end of Breaking Bad spoiled for me. I knew how it ended, but I didn't know like where, why, who, how, what.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool to see that for the first time. Also on last podcast we talked about how I didn't know Dumbledore died in Harry Potter.
Actually, that is worth
And
mentioning because like
That was insane.
that is you are a relic of like time. You are a rare breed.
Yep.
Believe that.
I had no idea that character died and who killed him. I was like, what?
It's like the go-to like I'm gonna spoil something for funsies.
In fact, there's an entire internet historian episode about it.
That's so interesting. They should have interviewed Tyler. If only we knew.
Like that's how telling it is that like we're not spoiler alerting it at all because it's just like everyone knows
who
it.
gives
Like
a
everyone
shit?
knows.
I had no idea. I was
Everyone
like,
knows Darth Vader's Luke's father.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like one of those moments where, like, I don't watch a lot of dramas. Like, Breaking Bad's a drama, so when people die in a drama, you're like, oh, they're dead, okay?
Yeah.
When you watch a fantasy, like One Piece, you know, you're like, oh,
they're dead, right?
yeah, like, yeah, they're dead, wink, wink. Like, real deaths that, like, are important part of the story stick with me. I don't know if Dumbledore's death was important other than the fact that he was important and like I don't feel like he like
we don't have time. We don't have time to unpack this on Free Talk.
We do though.
I'm just trying to get back into it.
Dumbledore's death wasn't important, even though
he was important.
Look, all I'm gonna say was,
are you saying it wasn't like well executed? Like it just didn't make you feel sad?
I just think like Jiraiya's death was much more significant.
I'll die on that hill with you.
Protagonist than Dumbledore was for our protagonist.
Look, I'm a type why Tyler is wrong in our midcast chat because I'm gonna compare Dumbledore's death to a death in a different story. And if I say what the story is, people who haven't read it are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I know who he's talking about. That character's gonna die."
You can't even say the name of the story?
No.
Oh.
Well, I could say the name of the story, but...
Is it a Wild Bow thing?
No. But the thing is, if I say the name of the story and you know I'm comparing this character to... I don't know, if I say the name of the story and I say, oh, a character in the same position as Dumbledore died...
A mentor
like, oh
character.
My God, that's the character.
Have we... Now, here's the 20 questions...
Oh, I want to play 20 questions about this.
No,
do we know what the story is?
Have we read the story, or do we know the story? Does anyone in the circle know the story?
He's typing it. Hold on.
Oh no! All four of you have read it.
Oh, okay. Can you just tell us what it is then in like the chat?
Spoiler.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, hold on. Do not listen to the skip. Use the little skip 15 seconds button now. Go.
Okay.
What?
In Stormlight Archives.
Okay. All right.
Essentially.
No, I don't.
You're ahead of him in Stormlight Archive. What are you talking about?
Talk about.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Anyways, okay, this is a good way for us to avoid Harry Potter.
Is Bradley behind us?
Yeah.
Bradley's way behind you.
Yeah.
So what is he talking about?
I don't know,
I was
actually.
gonna type it, but y'all wouldn't fucking let me.
Well, here's the thing. I've read the story and I don't know what you're talking about, so I don't think it was that
Y'all won't let me
bad.
fucking type
Not Bradley.
Yeah.
Y'all aren't letting me.
Can we move on to the actual podcast?
Okay. The last thing is, Black Widow's not as bad as people say, and Hawkeye is almost the best thing that they've put out in a while. Okay.
First 3 episodes, golden. Last 3 episodes,
Yeah, they're alright. Last episode, pretty good, actually. It's 4 and 5 that are a little slower. Okay. How do y'all feel about game industry news that have been going on? Because I feel like that could be a fun talk.
Sony buying Bungie is fucking legit.
That's crazy. That is...
Actually, I think Sony buying Bungie is crazier than...
No,
No,
that is crazier because, like, okay, all Xbox is Gears of War and Halo. Like, not to start console war.
Not anymore.
Like, but like, then what are they now? Sorry, what are they now if they're not that, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're not anything. They're not. They're a Game Pass. They're not like brands anymore.
But okay, so like I'm a big Bungie stan. Like they're probably like my dream company. I'm still, working up that flagpole one day.
You'll do it.
I say that while I work at another large studio.
Greedy Tyler having jobs that other designers would literally kill for.
Working at a studio that a lot of people would actually kill for.
Yeah, genuinely.
I like where I work. This is before I worked there. I also wanted to work at Bungie.
True. Tyler went hard on applications.
I really liked Destiny. I played it for 7 years.
Yeah.
So, Bungie is, I think, the only game studio in the world to have been owned by Microsoft, Blizzard, and Sony.
Blizzard owned Bungie at a point?
Activision
Yup.
owned them at one point, I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, I hope hopefully they find a decent home in that
This
Sony
deal
umbrella.
is mind-blowing.
Okay, I mean,
because-
if we want to talk about the mind-blowing one, we'll circle back around to Microsoft because that's actually mind-blowing. Like,
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's bigger.
yeah, it's big.
So-
Yeah, in scale, it's bigger. Yeah.
So, but I want to talk about this one just because it's the most fresh. And I was looking into it today earlier. So, there's a lot of articles talking about like the legality and the contracts that went into this deal. Basically, Sony bought Bungie. Like, they bought them for the company and not the Destiny IP itself. They bought them for their tech, their expertise in live services, and their notoriety and their brand.
I think the conclusion you can draw from that is one day Call of Duty will be an Xbox exclusive, which is a huge hit. Because currently Call of Duty is back to being a PlayStation series. It's not going to be that way in 5 years, probably. So they're going to make the competitor shooter maybe with Bungie.
No. In
No?
the contract, it says they are allowed to stay multimedia platform.
Yeah.
They stay multimedia. They hold all creative freedom, meaning that while Sony can make suggestions, at the end of the day, Bungie has the authority on it.
Even if they're multi-platform, it's going to end up being like the DLC comes first for Sony. There's no way that they're not going to do timed exclusivity.
Nope, it is exclusively in the contract that they will not do that, because that exact concept is what hurt their Destiny IP in the past. That is why it's in the contract. This is the most unique brand deal in all of time, because once again, they were owned by Blizzard Activision, had Sony exclusives, everybody hated it, both the studio hated it and their player base hated it. And so they're like, no, we're not gonna do it. Like, that's just like it's I don't think these multimedia existing games like Call of Duty, like Destiny, I don't think the studios care enough to compete with those IPs on one platform anymore. I really think they're going to start going into their heavy single player games being what people buy the consoles for.
I mean, but what's the point of buying Bungie for $6 billion, which is not like that's a pretty good pricey acquisition.
But that looks like small potatoes compared to some things nowadays.
I mean, Microsoft has so much fucking money, and they swung it. They used it like a fucking Dark Souls weapon, where it's just a bag of money.
I think it's interesting. Tyler brought up the fact that it could be used to springboard extended Bungie products like movies and TV shows, because Sony is a multimedia platform.
Yeah.
So
it's
a good.
Is that really a market you want to buy a company for $6 billion to get into? No one the game movies and just don't really work that well. You know.
No, but I can also see where you bring them in and maybe you don't have them develop a game, but you have their senior staff or their main staff come in and advise another studio on another game.
This is something that'll take 4 to 5 years to pan out, but there's no way that you buy a studio and you're Sony. Sony's very Sony's whole thing is okay, we're just gonna keep our exclusives close to our chest, and we're anything that's even released multiple places is gonna release faster on Sony. They don't buy stuff to keep it completely open platform. That's not how they've operated.
That is part of their deal.
Is it that they don't have to go exclusive? We'll see. This is a conversation that we'll have to see in the future.
And this is why it's interesting. I did want to talk about this today. In their contracts, they're saying Sony bought them for their expertise in live service platforms, their technology, and their in-house engine. So that tech will go to other Sony-owned studios, which the Destiny tech for a first-person shooter right now is the best.
Interesting.
It's only shortcoming by Titanfall 2.
What if they
making games anymore?
Yeah. What if they influx some of their Sony money into having Bungie make a new team So they'll keep making Destinies that are open platform, but you can't see like them giving Bungie the money to make a team that's going to make a Sony exclusive shooter.
They can,
I feel
but
like that will happen.
But Destiny stays multi-platform, which is what they care about right now. They might make exclusive titles in the future, but Sony doesn't have creative freedom over what they're making.
Yeah, that's good. That's how it should be.
That is what it is at the end of the day. It's a give and take relationship on both ends. It's very unique, very different. And I want to say something about this, which is really cool. Bungie bought out their company from Activision Blizzard in 2019 for $200 million.
Wow.
To turn
what an
around
up value. What a fucking...
and make like $6.6 billion back? Mind-blowing.
I mean, when you're a company CEO, that's your end goal. You want to flip that thing.
Yeah. About 20% of that cost that they bought Bungie for is an incentive. They put like $1.6 billion as an incentive down to keep senior and upper level staff at the company.
That's great. That's great to hear. Because I'm very... So if we want to jump to the other side of the pond, almost $70 billion deal to buy Activision, but they already had Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, and Zynga, I think are the main things they took.
Not Zynga.
King Game.
Whatever. Candy Crush is the actual like money maker out of this deal somehow. But Call of Duty still sell 30 million copies and have been primarily a Sony console based on like DLCs and like they favor that side. And while Phil Spencer did say like, oh, we're planning on keeping it multi-platform, it's like, okay, for now, because you have contracts still that are keeping it multi-platform, but we'll see how this shakes out. Because
you talk about a Game Pass pusher, because now you can just make Warzone a Game Pass exclusive thing, and like that wraps into your Battle Pass. You could say like, oh, buy the Battle Pass, or just go on Game Pass and we'll just give it to you.
Here's something interesting to think about: Game Pass that is a monthly subscription already. Could you see World of Warcraft becoming a part of the monthly Game Pass?
Wow, that would be a huge value, and that would be how World of Warcraft tries to desperately fight Final Fantasy.
A game that is that is 18 years old
and kind of struggling right now, from what I understand.
Very outclassed by Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, very outclassed.
And grasping for straws. Like,
dude, I haven't seen any. Oh, yes, brother.
Like, are we just gonna have to wait for World of Warcraft 2 for them to come back? Because I don't know, man.
I feel like Tyler has the right idea here.
Yeah.
My brother played World of Warcraft since launch, and he canceled his subscription this year because he's like, I just only play Final Fantasy 14. He's like, wow, just isn't fun anymore.
It's crazy how much I hear that story, because isn't there that big streamer like Assmold? He switched over to Final Fantasy as well, so like, and he was a WoW streamer.
The WoW killer actually
killed WoW. Like the WoW killer actually did it.
It's not a joke anymore.
But like, I feel like Tyler brings up something I haven't seen anyone bring up. Well, like that is, that's such a great way to get him like a fighting chance again, is to loop it into Game Pass.
I wonder if it actually. So, also, World of Warcraft is a pretty outdated engine as well.
Talking about World of Warcraft, your backpack is vital to the entire engine. If it gets fucking deleted, the game crashes.
Oh, it must be like your character is also your backpack kind of combination. Yeah. Holy shit.
I wonder, along with Game Pass, if they're working on a port for Blizzard to Xbox console.
See, that would also be good.
Yeah.
That would bring in...
Because Final Fantasy is playable on the console, so that's a good...
Yeah. This is going to be the future of your live... So, like, your live service games are your future competition. Because not everybody can... Like, I think game companies have realized single-player games, again, are a very profitable business time. And online games, like Call of Duty, are not going to be the future. Microtransactions are not the future. It's retaining a loyal player base to your game. Meaning you have to actually make something people want to spend money on. You can create a good game, and then, like, if it's free to play, people will, like, voluntarily spend money on it. People are like the user base is more understandable.
Like Genshin, if you're gonna play Genshin completely free to play, you can just use those starting characters and grind it out forever and have the time if you like it.
Yeah, I think Tyler's onto something too, because like, think about it. Obviously, the biggest expense to a studio is making each game.
Yeah.
It takes a shitload of time and money to make a game. Now, let's say we spent millions of dollars 2 or 3 years making this game, and our model was microtransactions. Our financial department is like, we know for a fact we are going to profit off this game. And maybe you do. But what's better? Making a game that depends on these... but like, I don't know, maybe your player base falls off because they're like, this game's predatory, I hate it, it's not fun. Mm-hmm. So, what's a better move? Making a game every 2 to 3 years that you get a bunch of money all at once and then people stop playing it, or you make it one game that people play for like 15 fucking years.
Yeah.
And like,
but I think also the point being up is that like you don't have enough time to play every live service game.
That's the thing, and this is why you guys are making a lot of sense. But I do think this trajectory that we've been on for a couple of years is anti-consumer, because they will design the game where it's like, hell, even I have to be like, okay, today's the day I have to do my Unite Battle Pass. Tomorrow I don't have time to play games. The day after I have to now do my Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle Pass. Like, it just compounds. I haven't done my Tepid one this month. It's like...
But that's why single-player games keep on coming out and, like, break records.
And I think this is why Sony and Nintendo are beating out third parties and Microsoft, is because they keep putting out the premium, like, AAA, AA, single-player experience, buy once... And just kind
those
of
games don't go bad.
Like the God of Wars, the Days Gones, for the people who like. There's diehards for those games, and of course there's the Nintendo games.
They're like, I don't want to say non-perishable, but basically, like if I go and buy God of War, it's going to be the same game even now or when it first came out. But if I went and bought the last Call of Duty, it's not gonna. I'm not gonna be able to play it.
You're gonna be playing with hackers probably at this point.
Yeah, like 4 or 5, like.
Also, to like kind of point out, like Joe's talking about like games being released on Sony platforms, like if you think that Sony isn't going to allow Destiny to stay multi-platform, or they're going to let those like contributions go to multiple platforms, God of War just came out on Steam. Like Bloodborne's coming out on, like they're going to allow.
That's not true.
they're going to time gate.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna like time gating is how they
not like content, like a full game. Like like Epic has been the pilot in this of getting these IPs, literally paying them infinite money because Epic has the most money. Like they're paying these games to be timed exclusives, so it's not going to be just like content is time exclusive. The entire game is going to be time exclusive. Yeah, it's much more impactful than a gun or a skin.
I mean, Call of Duty DLCs are timed exclusives. They've been since I was like in high school.
They came out.
But also,
they were Xbox first back then.
Shooting games are the most popular games probably of all time.
Yeah,
like
which is why like
always.
I think it's important that Call of Duty stays multi-plat, because like I don't care about like the other genres who gets what exclusives, but I think there's something pure about like the popular shooter. That gamers need to be able to play their sports games and their shooting games in any console. I feel like that's the most consumer-friendly genre that needs to be available everywhere.
So we need to talk about the big shooting games. There's Fortnite, which is owned by Epic. Yeah. There's Apex Legends, owned by EA. There was Call of Duty, owned by Activision. And then there's Destiny is up there, owned by Bungie.
It's actually beaten out Blizzard. Isolated. So with any like genre, there's this theory that like there's only 2 to 3 spots in the mainstream for anything, and it's right now it's Fortnite and COD, and what would you say is the third most popular? Valorant?
Probably Halo, maybe.
Halo's making it. You think Apex is more popular than Valorant right now? Because
Apex is way more popular than Valorant.
We went from Call of
Apex. I mean, Valorant split a community in half, and that's the CS:GO community.
Yeah,
it's not user friendly.
What were you gonna say, Bradley?
We went from the Call of Duty era to the Minecraft era back to the Call of Duty era.
Minecraft era was more pure, I will say.
No,
As-
the
Minecraft era was
Minecraft
crazy,
era
but it was
still
pure.
exists.
Yeah.
Talk to any like
Talk to my little brother.
talk to literally any child. They know Fortnite and Minecraft. Like
Yeah.
That's like
that
saying
is what
Pokemon
they
era is
play.
over.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But like,
It's
I don't
not
think
over.
Pokemon
It just
era is over.
exists now. It just exists now. There's no era.
We
It's
live in a
permanent.
time where there's too many good games, and it's tough out there for us.
Yeah, we
I
need to
play
stop
they
making
all
good games.
suck,
Yeah.
except for the games I play.
The main thing about this acquisitions, though, is like I was talking about the shooters being owned by like 4 different companies. Now they're owned by 3, or like they're owned by like 4 big ones. There's 2 independent ones, I guess, a little bit, which would have been like Activision Blizzard wasn't even independent, but now it's Microsoft owns Call of Duty, and now Sony owns Destiny. Like,
What if
and
Epic
there's-
bought?
Destiny's like
EA.
a distant fourth.
What if Epic bought EA? That would be
I
crazy.
could see. Oh, that would be so gross. Here's
don't
the thing
know.
about this. Okay, the thing with acquisitions is they get me a little scared because it's like, especially with the Microsoft one, because they just kind of stole a company that was kind of playing every field evenly. When you compare to like Sony's involvement with Bungie, but more importantly, it's stuff like taking that aside, it's Blue Point and House Marquee, who made Returnal, and then what's the third one? Insomniac. Like, Sony's been helping those studios get off the ground, and then they buy them when they're profitable. And I think that's a more organic way to do it. Nintendo did that with Monolith, I think.
I think Microsoft
Monolith.
swept in while Blizzard was at its lowest.
Oh yeah.
So that's another thing. They're inheriting
what?
a shit show.
That's what you
But they're
gotta
also
do.
like cutting
Yeah.
the head off of the snake.
Yeah.
Because as soon as this business deal closes in a year, they're kicking the guy out.
You
I
gotta
mean-
buy Wordle while it's still small.
Well,
Yeah.
did you miss the fact that Wordle was bought by Wall Street Journal?
No, that's why I was making the joke. It's fucking crazy.
Christ. Now Wall Street Journal is back in the game. They're currently the 5th spot.
Wordle's
Wait, I
bringing
can't
them
make
back.
that joke yet.
Anyways, what a fucking world we live in. Google Stadia is poised to take everyone next year too. So.
God, was there anything else? I feel like there was something else with the topic that I wanted to talk about.
You should talk about your move that you did.
Yeah, I
So
fucking moved.
Yay! Yatta!
Finally moved out of my parents' basement after 3 years of moving in.
Joe had the nicest upper floor broom. He was not a basement dweller.
Yeah, it was very nice. But like basically, I have like a whole big space now. That's for myself. It's basically like my two rooms I had like shoved together and expanded, which
Nice.
is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Close by to friends. Got my own couch. Got my own fridge and everything. So I'm now fully independent and having to pay bills. And I look at the fact that I only have one person currently in the pipeline for my job, and it makes me scared.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You'll bounce back.
Yeah, I hope so. But
You want to talk about how Boba Fett sucks?
Yeah, Boba Fett sucks.
No, you like the Mandalorian episodes.
I do. I haven't watched the latest episode, but like Boba Fett's been so mid, and like I even as a kid was like Boba Fett looks cool, but he got killed by a blind guy. Like, why does anyone think he's the coolest dude ever? I was always into fucking old man with a lightsaber.
Sure
But like,
are.
there's just a weird pacing issue with the show. It doesn't want to focus on one story. It keeps balancing back and forth between these two. It's trying to do like a One Piece type of thing where you have a flashback to kind of relate back to what's going on, but it doesn't. There's nothing that relates to them there.
Look,
Like,
I love
okay.
One Piece and it is the best media, but that's not a One Piece thing.
Well, One Piece, you have flashbacks like you have the Calgara flashback
yeah.
that like
God,
that relates
so
to what's
good.
happening there. But this tells us how Boba Fett got to where he was, but it doesn't like directly.
There's no
relate
like
to the
narrative
show.
punch to like ringing that bell.
Correct.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes. And so now these last two episodes have been Boba Fett free, basically, and it's just so funny
Boba
to me,
Unchained.
because it just tells me like once again Boba is just not a fun character. But Mandalorian is way better.
I love me some Boba.
Boba. But he
Anyway,
did fight Machamp in the first episode, which was kind of neat.
can you show me a picture of this Machamp? I can't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
I've been playing the Dark Souls a lot,
Oh yeah,
Man,
going ham.
I'm really into those games right now. I beat Dark Souls 1. I'm almost done with 2 now. I've been
Man.
doing a diligent job at like doing an area a day if I can.
Willer struggled a good bit at the first Dark Souls final boss. What was it?
Gwyn, which everyone
Gwyn?
says by the time you get to like
Willer couldn't parry this.
like I could parry it. I just couldn't do it consistently. If you don't parry Gwyn, he takes out 60% of your health. So like everyone, like, you walk in and you kill Gwyn in one combo. It's like, I did not have that experience, okay? I did beat Artorias and Manus in 2 tries, which are the harder bosses.
Oh,
so
fuck you.
they're easy.
Artorias annihilated me.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 tries for Artorias. Guardian is the same. That was a great DLC. I haven't beaten 2 yet. I feel like I've looked into it. I don't really understand why 2 is looked so unfavorably. I think it is a cooler game than 1. 2 is actually doing a lot of stuff that I like a lot. Now, I will say the Scholar, the first Sin edition that I'm playing, spawns a shit ton of enemies, so sometimes I'm playing like a Switch version of a Muso game where, like, yeah, there's a healthy amount of enemies in this room right now, except they will fuck you up. And that, like, level design wise, that's not the greatest, but also Dark Souls 1 has, you turn a corner and you see a lava room with 30 dragon asses just standing waiting to gang bang you. So it's like, cool. Yeah, that's much better, guys. Like, sorry. 2, like, I'm not that into fantasy setting, which I brought up when we talked about this last time, but that doesn't exist, so I guess it's worth mentioning. And it's like, I like Dark Souls 1 because of the level design and like the zones, and you want to see what's next, and you want to like overcome the challenge. I think those games are very well designed, even if the level design can be lazy at times. Just the whole package is great, right? Boss runs can go, but I've found my way around them when I want to. But the thing is, 2 and 3, because I have beaten 3 before, this is my first time through 2, they get a little zanier, they get a little wackier, they get a little more anime, for lack of a better term, where it's not just cool knight or weird creature or a giant wolf. Sometimes you get like a weirdo. Like, I fought a boss called the Looking Glass Knight, and while that is a knight enemy, like, the way he operated was just very different from other knights. And then in Dark Souls 3, like, the enemies are so cool. They're wearing armor here and there, but they're weird. Like, you have Vort, which is the first boss, which is a weird, like, on all fours, like, crawling knight. It's super weird. You have the Dancer, which is this skinny, like, flowy thing. You have the Abyss Watchers, which is like a group of a hive mind. They just do more interesting things and get a little flashier in a way that I like. And the areas are so much better. So much so that I did make a tier list of my ongoing boss opinions and zone opinions. So I guess I should screen share if I'm going to talk about that. Welcome back to Tier List Roundabout Cast. The best... Don't mind the fact that Guardian Ape is here and some Bloodborne bosses, because those are the ones I remember vividly. So it's like, I know when I get back to these games, these characters will be in this location. Guardian Ape is just the best. I think Joe would agree.
Fuck that guy. But also, you know what?
You know what?
I think in our first podcast, we talked about Sekiro, and I told the story of how when I beat Guardian Ape, I immediately, like, zoned out and, like, went back to the bonfire. Then I came back there, and Guardian Ape was back. I was like, what the fuck? I thought I beat this guy. And then I beat him again, and then I saw the gimmick of his revival. But yeah, out of Dark Souls 1, I really like Gwyn. Artorias and Calamite are up there. Orstein and Smog is, like, the traditional fight.
Are these all the Dark Souls bosses from 1 and 2, or just 1?
This is 1, 2, and some Demon Souls. So you have Old Monk is from Demon Souls. He's a PvP boss. So is the Storm King is like a set piece boss that's really good. Some 2 ones I really like are Smelter Demon, Pursuer. The Duke's Dear Freya is a really cool, like, spider that has 2 different heads at each end, and they both fight differently. I just fought a guy named
That's cool.
Verstat. He's like a cool priest guy. Yeah, I'm liking the bosses, and then some of the worst
Dude.
bosses. Bed of Chaos, of course.
You know what cracks me up about Pinwheel? Not necessarily, because like he's notoriously like
The
one
easiest.
of the most. He's so easy, but what makes it even funnier for me is like think about the Minotaur demon, right? You fight him really early on, and then like 20 hours later into your runtime in the game, you get to the area where he's just a normal enemy. But Pinwheel, it's like you fight him, and then the next area has him as a normal enemy, like right in front of Nito.
Oh my god, yeah, I don't know if they're straight up Pinwheel, but they're like of the same family of enemy, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, holy fuck.
What's fun, the reason why Pinwheel is not a D tier is because that game, sometimes you just feel good to stomp a boss, and he was a fun stomp boss, because his arena at least was...
It's really fun to kill.
Bad bosses, Bed of Chaos, Centipede Demon, not a fan. Demon Fire Sage is just the reskin of the first boss. Moonlight Butterfly, just waste your time.
I hated those bosses.
On the Demon Souls end, Dragon God is the coolest looking enemy that you see in those games. The boss is so stupid. And Covetous Demon out of 2 is my least favorite so far. But shout outs to the Rat Ganks, because like they're not great either. They could stand and go to D Pro.
On Capra Demon, the boss fight isn't the Capra Demon. The boss
It's
fight
the dogs.
is well, it's like to me the boss fight's the arena you fight him in.
And I mean, that's another reason why I love these games. I feel like they really, like, small changes in the boss arenas, and in their case, like a big change, really go a long way to make these fights feel different.
Hell yeah.
So I appreciate that. On the Bloodborne end, one day I will put Lady Maria when I fight her in S tier, because I know I love her. Joe has talked me into liking the Witches of Hemwick, which is worth noting.
Hey.
And then I have some zones
Cool gimmick.
that I like as well.
I think they have a really cool gimmick.
Well, we should just do some more Bloodborne just side by side run throughs. Talking.
Me and Keith are gonna do a Dark Souls 3 side by side. I'll do Bloodborne with you as well. Area wise, Drangleic Castle in Dark Souls 2. You turn the corner and you see this badass black castle, and it was such a cool set piece, and the actual area is great. I also like the Kiln of the First Flame in Dark Souls 1 and 3. I think this one's the one from 3 that I put up here, and this is the one from 1. Are such cool area. Bradley, when you're walking to the Kiln of Flame, and you look behind you, and you see those souls of like the Black Knights walking.
I know.
That is so very cool.
That's really cool.
Majula's my favorite area that you return to. I like the music there. Sense Fortress is a nice shout out from 1. And Orlando's pretty good. I feel like it's overrated. It's literally just a castle with a cool elevator, but it's fine. A lot of good Demon Souls areas made it up here, but then areas I hate. Tomb of the Giant, Crystal Cave, awful. Doors of Pharaohs from Dark Souls 2 requires you to use a very hard to obtain key that you get throughout the game. You get like these Pharaoh stones that are keys, and this is a zone with like 50 Pharaoh's doors, and you have to figure out which ones to open. Awful game design. That was incredibly fucked up. Anyway, stay tuned for my growing list of Dark Souls locations and bosses as I play these all. I have 20 sleeps before Elden Ring comes out. Maybe I'll beat Dark Souls 3, so I'll be ready for Dark Souls 4, which is Elden Ring.
You'll also beat Pokemon Arceus.
Yes, which we will talk about later. Maybe we'll beat it. Joe, what is Marvel Strike Force?
Oh, we're actually getting into it.
Actually, no, we'll save it because you don't have much to go, so we'll throw that in the middle. Tyler, why don't you tell me about Ranking of Kings instead?
You know what, Joe? Fuck you. Fuck you.
No, I decided to jump to Joe. I was like, wait, this is the one Joe topic. Let me dial it back.
Shit, let's do Anime Hour with Tyler.
I don't got an hour, but I got a pack.
Yeah.
So, I'm cruising around Crunchyroll, and I find 2 animes, and I'm like, you know what, I guess I can talk about these.
Do the bad one first, hold on.
So, I find this one anime called, I saw a YouTube video for it, because Crunchyroll does these little, like, quick snippets of, like, shows and stuff, and they're like, oh, hey, you might like this. And it was, what was it? it was like reincarnated, like a regular dude is reincarnated into a world with a hit mama or something.
I thought it was something like I don't know. It was one of those dumb titles.
With an ordinary guy who reincarnated as a fantasy knockout and another guy. So like I watched this video and like they walk into this shop and the gimmick is it's like a business dude dies and reincarnates into a fantasy world, and he's got this like really like waifu girl with him, and she has a bag on her head though, because if she takes the bag off of her head, everybody in town is so attracted to her that like mass riots and like chaos starts to break out. Like he's like, maybe we can use your face to get that enchanted item we need down from 300 gold to like 10. And she takes off her mask and she walks in, and the shopkeeper's like, I will give you here's the deed to my shop. Here's my life savings. Like, please, this isn't enough. I need to give you everything. And like people start, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, I'll give it a watch.
That seems like a better premise than a lot of the trash you bring into our podcast.
Yes, but then I go to watch the first episode, and I'm 30 seconds in, and the narrator's like, this is the story of a guy who dies and was reincarnated into a world as a regular dude, with another guy who dies that is reincarnated into the world as a cute young girl. So it's literally that's where I was like, it's like an old dude, creepy dude dies, and he becomes this like little hot waifu.
Is she a loli?
Got quiet.
Yeah.
Did Tyler die?
What? I was like, did the stream freeze? What happened?
Is she a loli? Silence.
I don't know.
What is happening? Anyways, I feel like that question fucked with Tyler. He's like, how dare you?
I just mind blank for a second. Anyway,
You need to sleep.
then I talked about Ranking of Kings.
Yeah.
Or I watched Ranking of Kings. This anime, good. It's the story. It follows a young prince on his journey to become a king, and he's going to face several hardships within it in his adventure that he goes on. It's charming. It's cute. It has a little bit niche of an art style. It's got some like cool watercolor looking flashbacks.
This and Odd Taxi have been on my to-watch list. I need to get around to them.
Yeah. So, I really liked it. I think I watched like 4 episodes with Kelly, and she cried in 3 out of 4 of them.
Good ratio.
Yeah. So she's enjoying it too.
Needless to say,
it's pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. I think this would be a good Bradley anime if I recommended it to Bradley. Because Bradley likes cute, charming stories.
Is the wife a loli though?
No. There are no lollies in this anime.
He was able to answer this time. Let's go.
There are no lollies or waifus. There is a wife. There are 2 wives, and both of them are,
You
I
know.
I don't know.
I don't actually know. Are they lolis? Is that what you're saying?
No. They're normal women.
I'm sorry.
Anyway. It's good. I would rank it up there with probably the best thing I'll watch all year.
So, one more time, what's the name?
I have low Ranking of Kings.
Right on.
I posted the cover photo in Midcast.
If Haikyuu if a new Haikyuu season doesn't come out this year, I anticipate it's probably going to be the best anime that I'll watch all year.
February, so this is the Elden Ring of the anime.
Write that down, kids. Write that down.
Write that down.
I don't have much anticipation for anything else coming out this year.
Jujutsu Kaisen might come out this year.
Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen probably won't be better than Ranking of Kings.
Man, that's high praise.
If Ranking of Kings is one season, one solid chunk of story, I think it's gonna be better.
How you
then debatable.
How you liking Attack on Titan so far?
But it was me, Aaron Yeager.
Oh my
You
god!
thought it was Zeke, but no, it was me, Aaron Yeager.
So, as of the recording, they've started doing the funky shit.
The fun
I
stuff.
am
Yeah.
I am down for the funky shit. And
Man.
Joe has read all of it. Joe, I am a liker of Mass Effect 3 and the way it ended. Knowing that, will I be disappointed with the way Attack on Titan ends?
Scott, that's a great question. Yes.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
I fucking
Interesting.
hate that ending.
Is this ending worth? Hey, what was that one manga y'all were reading about theater that y'all really liked?
Oh, that didn't have an
Dude,
ending.
no.
Is it a worse ending than that?
Well,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
Because
they're both equally heartbreaking for different reasons.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But like that, I didn't have an ending.
Yeah.
Like quite literally, I was perfectly fine with the manga until about page 3 of the final chapter, and then I was like, "Oh, you literally ruined everything."
Man, enjoy the next 5 to 6 episodes because it is.
But like before that, it's fucking great.
The stretch they're on is probably the best part of the show.
There's the
Period.
campfire scene, one of my favorite things I've ever read in a manga format.
Yeah, which people don't like that. People get a little too crazy. Eren fans are just below Zoro fans as far as like being annoying.
I think they're worse than Zoro fans. Shit, at least
Actually, yeah, because at least Zoro's a good person.
Yeah.
So, here's something really cool to think about. I will have seen all of Attack on Titan this year. It will be over.
No, Tyler, you are a fool if you think you're gonna finish Attack on Titan this year. They don't have enough time to finish it. The last arc is going to be a movie, almost like guaranteed.
100%. I think,
But it's gonna be like an amazing looking movie. Oh, they need infinite budget to pull off the ending. I will say it is a spectacle.
No
the
way.
ending is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah,
Let's fucking
It's
go.
super cool.
So
visually.
I think I've had part of the ending spoiled for me.
Mm.
I have a theory
Okay.
about what happens.
You should DM it in the Wano chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll DM that.
Good old Wayno.
And I'll hold that thought up for later.
Yeah.
But that is also disappointing. But this is still food for thought. I will at some point finish Attack on Titan.
Yes, maybe maybe this year, maybe next year.
I will have previewed it all with my optical devices.
Mhm.
I have also seen all of Sword Art Online.
Okay.
And at one day, I will be able to tell both of you which one I think is better.
I have enough love for the series left in my hollow heart to say that I don't want to hear you say that Sword Art is better. I don't want to hear it.
Just saying.
Sword Art doesn't have season 3 of Attack on Titan, which is already better than all of Sword Art. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. What's next?
Next up is I can go over the TV shows I was reading and watching. I watched Don't Look Up a while ago. Tyler, you saw this too, right?
I have not seen it yet, so
Okay.
I'm going to
I'm not gonna-
anti-earmuffs.
I'm not going to talk about it very much then. I like Don't Look Up. I can see why some people don't. I will say that like people who don't look up tend to say like, oh, this is a movie that's just pandering to the audience that it's intended for. It's just like poking fun at the idiots and pandering to the people who know better, so it comes off as snobby. And I was like, yeah, but also fuck the idiots, because I like the idea that this movie is going forward. This is a movie where the base premise is a meteor is going to collide with Earth, and the plot is two scientists, one played by Leonardo DiCaprio and the other played by Jennifer Lawrence, have to tell the world and navigate how humanity is going to handle this threat that will inevitably kill all life if it lands on the planet, and what recourses they can take to stop that. And it goes from there. It's a dark comedy, and mostly a cautionary tale. It's made by the guy who wrote, was it The Hangover or Step Brothers? One of the two? Like, okay.
So it's gonna be amazing.
So one of those is an amazing movie in my opinion.
Man. Weird tangent, but Cosmonaut Marcus came out with his X-Men Part 2 movie.
I watched that, yeah. Jesus.
And turns out that one of the writers for
X-Men Origins was the writers for Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
So how they had their shit together for so long is beyond me.
Because you know what? Someone wrote it for him. His name was George Martin.
Yeah,
George R.
True.
I forget his name. I'm sorry.
George R.R. never finishing the story.
Yep. But anyways, moving on.
I recommend Don't Look Up. It's on Netflix. I will say the one big negative, because like I like the message, I get the pandering, but I've heard some people say it's not funny. I definitely got a couple chuckles out of me. The character who is deliberately unfunny the whole time is Jonah Hill's character, which sucks because I actually really like Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, Jonah Hill's actually a good actor.
Yeah, and
I've heard a lot of good things about this movie though.
It's definitely worth a check out. It upsets me in the directions it goes sometimes, but not because of the writing, just because I'm like, yeah, looking at COVID, looking at how we handled COVID, it's like, yeah, you're right.
Also, this was written and done before COVID? Or
this is an analogy for global warming, but it doubles extremely well as an analogy for COVID as well. So just keep that in mind. I've been watching a couple of shows. One of them is called Cruel Summer.
The sequel to Midsummer.
Yeah. So they recast Florence Pugh, unfortunately, Bradley. So
will not be watching.
No reason for you to jump in. Where are my notes for Cruel Summer? I probably deleted them because I was supposed to talk about this last time.
Willer, here's what you do: you recast a role, but then the actor that no longer plays that character, you have them play a different character in the show.
I feel like there's a show that does that. There's
gotta be a show.
American Horror Story, I think, is kind of like that, where the actors play different characters every season.
Yeah, but that's an anthology.
I see.
I don't know. Just imagine if one of the characters in It's Always Sunny just like started playing a totally different character.
That's brilliant, and that would fit Always Sunny. You should write them. you should write to them. So, Cruel Summer is a show that I saw a little bit of buzz about when it was coming out, and then I just got around to watching it now. It's a story that takes place between the summers of 1993, 1994, and 1995. And you're getting cuts from each of those timelines, and you're seeing these characters in each of those time periods, and you see how drastically they changed from 93 to 95 in that middle step, which is 94. The story follows a girl who's kidnapped by a school vice principal and held in a basement. And when she finally gets out, she blames the main character that she accuses her of having seen her in that situation and then not helping her. So in the 93 timeline, you're seeing a lot of that main character and how her friendships with some of her friends started, and how she kind of met the girl who eventually gets kidnapped, and you get to see the starting of the kidnap. Then in 94, you get to see after the girl's been rescued, and at that point, the main character has kind of stole the girl's place in the world. She stole her boyfriend. She's now the popular girl. She stole her friends and ditched her other friends, and this is the main character, by the way. And then in 95, you're seeing the legal proceedings of where this is all headed. And 8 episodes out of 10 in. This show's not very good. It's
a good old turnaround.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool setup, I'm sure. But like in execution, the dialogue is just like so important, and like the episode plotting, like it doesn't have like that nice, like you reach a nice end point at the episode where you see where the themes of the episode came together. I'm not getting much of that. The dialogue is really cringy here and there, and I don't use that word lightly. It's just like people don't talk like this. Like some of these people are so cartoony.
You sound like Book of Boba Fett. Like that's the exact I have. It's just like you keep showing me these two different like stories, but I don't understand why you're telling me this portion of it now, and this portion of this story now.
Yeah,
like, how are they connected?
I will say, like, it is cool to see how these timelines are progressing, but like also the directing style changes. So in 1993, everything has warm colors. In 1994, it's a little more realistic. But then in 1995, as the legal proceedings are going on, it is all like almost colorless, blue tinted. just to see like it's so much grittier and serious. Like there's no humor in this. There's no humor in the world of 1995.
That's a terrible year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's just like some insanely contrived evidences also that goes into like the legal proceedings where like this bracelet that your daughter bought in 1993 was found in the scene of the crime. This is her bracelet, right? It's like that could be anyone's. Anyway.
What are you talking about? This Ace Attorney shit.
Oh, I mean, but Ace Attorney doesn't take place.
That's true.
It's a problem when Ace Attorney is even the first ones have better mysteries than this. Now I am curious to see how this wraps up. What actually happened? But they're dragging it. It's like 8 episodes, and I don't have any idea what happened in this basement yet. Like what actually happened that day? Did the girl actually see the kidnapped girl? I imagine it'll be something where like the kidnapped girl wanted to stay, and then she changed her mind when she got out because the other girl stole her life, so she blamed it on her. I don't know. That would be a weird twist. That's some weird Stockholm syndrome. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
The other shows I've been watching. Did y'all know there's a Chucky TV show that aired this year?
Yes. Stars Mark Hamill.
Like
Sure do.
Like the
Chucky the doll.
The doll.
what the why?
Fuck it.
I'm watching it. I'm almost done with it. Chucky.
Damn, all right.
Chucky fares a little better. It's the story of this kid who bought Chucky because this kid is artistic and he's making a mannequin of a bunch of doll heads. Artistic. A mannequin of a bunch of doll heads, and he buys Chucky to add to his collection. However, Chucky's cursed, and the kid's dad is pretty mean. He doesn't want to accept that his son's gay, and like his cousins all make fun of him, and the son doesn't have any friends in high school. So Chucky's like, "Hey kid, I'll kill them all for you." So he kills the dad, and then like the kid brings Chucky along with him to live with his aunt and uncle, and like Chucky's just kind of there, and the dude's like, "Chucky, stop killing, stop," and Chucky's like, "I'm gonna kill him, kid," and then like. But the thing is, Chucky just hangs out in his room while the kid goes to school, and the kid knows Chucky's a murderer. He's just like, "Chucky, don't do it." He's like, "I didn't do it." So like, one day, like in the second episode, the kid's at school, and so is the cousin that he lives with. The cleaning lady squeezing shit on Chucky's face and cleaning it, and then she like goes to the dishwasher with all the knives turned up because. Sometimes people wash their dishes like that, and Chucky fucking sprints in there and like donkey kicks her into the knives. And then the kid gets home, he's like, "What the fuck, Chucky? What did she do?" And he's like, "Kid, I promise I didn't kill nobody." It's like, who? You left it.
Family Guy bit. I'm pretty sure there's a bit on Family Guy that they've done before.
Yeah, what is this on? I need to watch this now.
I don't know what streaming service it's on. I'll look into it for.
Miller, how are you watching it then?
I don't know. I watched it, kid. I don't know what's happening.
So basically, this is the Cobra Kai of Chucky.
Cobra Kai is really well written.
Also,
Actually,
hold on.
the plot is entertaining.
I'm sure I've asked this before, but Cobra Kai started on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's crazy, right?
That is nuts. It's so like for the quality it is, I guess.
It has Netflix money. It was the one good thing to come out of YouTube Red, as far as I'm aware.
And
Also,
what's weird,
the Vsauce show.
yeah, and what's weird is like the first 2 seasons were on YouTube, I think, and like I don't want to say the quality went up in the later seasons.
Oh, totally did.
Did it? I can't remember.
I feel like at least the choreography has like
choreography went up.
I feel like the stunt coordinators got more budget at least.
Yeah. But they don't do any like crazy practical effects or anything, and they kind of stick to the same kind of like camera shooting style.
Mm-hmm.
So it flows very seamlessly. Like you wouldn't even know watching it.
Some other fun things about Chucky. So Chucky's talking to the kid in the early episodes, and so how much do y'all know about Chucky movies from the past? Have y'all seen them? Do you know about
It's the serial killer that possesses the doll?
Yeah.
And
I
I know he gets a cult and a wife at one point.
So there is a Chucky wife. Chucky also has a son called Seed of Chucky.
How?
Yeah.
I forgot, dude. It's been forever. Chucky used to scare the shit out of me. He is very scary when you're a kid, and you just love watching him. Like, I like when Chucky's choking someone and he's kicking with his little dumbass doll legs. But so when the kid's finally talking to Chucky, he's like, "Chucky, you don't like mind that I'm gay?" He's like, "Kid, I'm not a monster. I have a non-binary kid." And that's true, actually. Like, Chucky's son is like a boy and a girl in that first like movie. It's like, I can't believe they brought that up. So there is lore. They don't like harp on it too much, but like it is still in the same universe as the other movies.
That's funny that Chucky just said white nationalists are worse than him.
He's like, "I'm not a monster, kid."
Is this a comedy or it's
absolutely
horror drama?
No,
dark comedy.
It's a dark comedy. It's like a horror comedy.
Chucky is no longer. Chucky's on that like line of Scream that they can no longer be horror.
Well,
movies.
Scream was always a joke, if I remember correctly.
It was always a satire. Chucky might have been too, but it's been so long since I've seen. I only remember like the overarching plot of what Chucky is.
People aren't scared of anything nowadays. They're like, "Oh shit, I got water spirit demons in my house. Fuck, I guess I'll just die."
Just call a
stand. Like, people don't care anymore.
So there's a girl in this show called Lexi who is incredibly unbelievable. She's the bully of the show. She's dating Jake is the main character. She's dating Jake's cousin, and she's just a complete little shit. So her little sister, during a Halloween party, first of all, this girl like bullies the kid really bad by dressing up as his dead dad and then pretending to be electrocuted because that's how Chucky killed the dad, which is like one of the worst things I've seen in TV bullying. It's kind of unrealistic. But Chucky puts on like a little ghost mask and starts trick-or-treating to find out where Jake went because he really wants to kill this girl that's bullying Jake. And Jake is like, I guess you can, but you really shouldn't. Like, it's kind of interesting because Jake's kind of into it. He's like, yeah, I guess you could kill her, but maybe I'll do it myself. It gets weird because this is supposed to be a good character. So Chucky finds the house, starts playing video games with the girl's sister. The girl's sister's really young. She's like, "Chucky, I love you." And Chucky's like, "Hey, I'm about to go kill your sister. You want to come with?" And she's like, "No, silly." He's like, "All right, bye." So he walks away. He literally says, "I'm about to go kill your sister. Do you want to come with?" So he walks away. And then, anyways, the girl likes liking Chucky. And then she's like, "Hey, Jake, can you give me Chucky?" And Chucky's like, "Hey, Jake, if you give me to her, I'll kill the sister while I'm in the house. Bada boom, bada bing. This is a really good opening." So Jake gives Chucky to the sister with that extent purpose. The girl then goes on to throw a house party where they're doing like a silent disco where like they're all wearing headphones and dancing. And Chucky kills a random kid that is not the girl, fails to kill the girl, sets the house on fire, and then it's like, what am I supposed to think about the main character who got an innocent person killed? The girl still lives, and like Chucky's a monster. So now we're
quite the anti-hero.
Where I'm at now, they're trying to like they've given up all pretense of fucking around with Chucky. They're trying to kill him.
You're the #1 Chucky fan.
I guess I am.
No, what fascinates me about this is Willard truly consumes more media than anyone I know, like games, books, TV shows, movies. Like it's kind of impressive because I just find one thing I like and I do that for a year and then I find something else.
Yeah, I just talked about two things that aren't super good, but I have them on the background.
That's what amazes me. It's like with all the stuff
told me on it. Like it just seems interesting.
No, this is much better than Cruel Summer because the actual shot direction, when the house is catching on fire, like you're seeing the fire creep through the wooden like railing of the top floor of the house. And the kids are dancing in the first floor, but they can't hear or like feel the fire because like they're doing the silent disco. So it just looks really cool. Like the show looks great at times, and they're like I'm getting some chuckles out of it here and there, but I'm also rolling my eyes at some of the plot points.
Nah, Chucky's back, baby. We're entering the decade of Chucky.
I guess we are. And then
how's the new season of Euphoria?
The new season of Euphoria is fucking great.
No way.
Me at Euphoria High. Those memes are not accurate. Here's the thing. Yeah. A joke needs to be accurate for me to like it. It is a pet peeve. Some of them are accurate, but when it's like teachers at Euphoria High, which was Bradley Shred, I was like, I don't remember the teachers in the show. They're never on screen.
That's the thing. I think the last time this happened was like TikTok finally found out about like the whole. There's a whole joke about like, oh, Drake is corny and shit, and TikTok kind of turned it into Drake is a cartoon character from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Like,
At least that's different, because when I was in middle school and like early high school, I was seeing those jokes. I was like, they came back, and I don't think these kids even know that they were an old thing. They're probably finding old memes and being like, "Oh, that was probably made this month," but it was like from 2011. Yeah, Euphoria is great. 4 episodes into the new season, which is all that's come out. I don't have any Euphoria friends, but Tyler's girlfriend started watching it, so we've been talking about it. She loves it as well because it's a great show, but I digress. This season's fantastic. The thing is, I could see people not liking this season as much because season 1 is very plot-driven, and every episode is like funneling into a plot. This one was described as the creator as like if the first season's supposed to be like a wild party, the second season is that party has been going on for way too long, everyone's uncomfortable to be there, and it's just burning out. And that is the feeling you get from watching this episode. Everyone's fucking up. The characters are crashing and burning. People are having breakdowns and mental like meltdowns.
Yeah, but you know what season 3 is? Second win, baby.
Second win party, maybe. I talked about Euphoria in the past, and I mentioned how the character of Rue is a really good depiction of a drug addict because as funny and as
That's
charming
Zendaya,
as
right?
Yeah, that's Zendaya. As funny and as charming as she can be, Rue is a horrible person when it comes to hiding her addiction from people and gaslighting and manipulating people. In the first season, there's a fourth wall breaking sequence of Zendaya teaching you how to take a proper dick pic. In the second season, which is funny, haha. In the second season, there's a breakdown of how Zendaya tells you how to gaslight your relatives and friends to make them not know that you're back on drugs. And it's like, oh, this is less funny this time. This is dark now.
oh, that is fucked up.
There's a lot of fourth wall breaks that are fantastic in this show. And
I saw a clip where it's
the
girl
Oklahoma clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk about it.
Yeah, it's just like this girl is dressed up like she's going to fucking
So
try out Oklahoma.
that girl is doing everything to impress the psychopath character that I wanted to die last season, Nate. And she's having a complete breakdown. She has very bad insecurity issues about love. I feel for her. The best character of the show ends up being a character I don't think anyone would have expected. So Nate's dad is, I've mentioned, a person who cheats on his wife with men and transsexuals and like films it for his own pleasure, which is fucked up. And then he accidentally has sex with a minor, which is Jules, who is Rue's girlfriend. So the plot kind of has that dangling over his head because Nate finds out and then uses it to blackmail his own dad because their relationship is fucked. And then you get the backstory for his dad, and he's been way more prominent this season, and you're just like, you're the most interestingly written character in this show, and it doesn't make sense because you started off on such a bad foot. Not to say he's a good guy, but you feel for that guy sometimes because he's having a rough time right now.
Is it like the black tentacle dude or whatever his name is from Boys? The guy you mentioned in Boys that like raped somebody and then everyone gives him shit about it in the next like season.
Oh, the Deep, Tentacle Boy. No, it's not like the Deep because like
The Deep isn't interesting. That's why.
Like Cal is a character who, so like they get into his backstory, and Cal's someone who's had repressed like his sexuality his whole life, and the one night that he gets to be himself and like actually fall in love with someone, the next day his girlfriend calls him and is pregnant. So he's brought into being a dad, and his son's a fucking psychopath. Like Nate is a monster, but also he created that psychopath, so he hates his own creation and is ashamed of himself. And in the most recent episode, he walked into his house and started peeing on the floor, and then went on this big monologue where he confesses to everything wrong he did and then blames his family for why he's so unhappy and then walks away. I was just like shocked the entire time. As usual, the best part of this show though is the acting and the directing. Oh my! This show is maybe the best directed show on television.
Oh.
That being said, like if you're gonna compare this to like say a Better Call Saul that has like that tight cinematography and really intentional shots, Better Call Saul is like the devil is in the details, while Euphoria is like everything is the coolest music video you've ever seen. So it's like very different ends of the spectrum, but they're both like the best that they can be.
That's a really cool way to describe it, though. Even if I haven't seen the show, like I get what you mean when you say that.
Yeah, like everything looks cool and like artistic, but yeah, it doesn't have that intentionality that like a slower burn show like Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad would have. But yeah, I will talk about this again when the season finishes. I'm just glad I have someone to talk about it with now.
Nice.
Yeah. So now, Joe, you can tell us about Marvel Strike Force, I believe.
Oh, shit.
So, as a recruiter, we work with a bunch of studios, and one of them that's been like we've been recruiting for is called Scopely, and they make a game called Marvel Strike Force. I just, as a whim, decided to download it on my phone and play.
I've heard of this. I get ads for this all the time. They have like every character.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It was like I'm getting too many ads for this. I might as well just check it out. It's an actual fun little like RPG phone game that you can have, where it's basically like you have a campaign map and you need to like go through the campaign map to unlock more dudes, and you level up your dudes, and then you get some really cool synergies. Like if you like right now, my team is composed mainly of Defenders characters and City characters. So like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Spider-Man, Punisher, like they're all on there, and so because they're all like the same team, they have like different
bonuses,
synergies with each other. I think it's like pretty solid as a phone game to like just kind of sit down, download, and play. And like there's some thought going into like, all right, well this character has the debuffer, but this character cleanses all the debuffs, and then like they use the same characters that you would use against you, so they make their own teams based off those kind of like synergies.
That seems a little more interesting than say how like Treasure Cruise does it, where it's like the boss is playing his own video game and you have to like you have to defuse what the boss throws at you before you could kill it. Well, this is like does this have a PvP component? Because that would make sense.
It does have a PvP. It has two different ones. It has like an offline one where it's just like it just takes your team and kind of runs it and doesn't do it optimally, and then it takes a team where you live fight each other.
That's cool.
So you have like two different ways of doing that. And I think that's the other thing about the game is that it has so many different modes that you can go in and do. Like you just like you're not like, I feel like in Treasure Cruise when you play it, like you get to a certain point, it's like, all right, now I just need to do events and log in for when the events happen and just do the events. Whereas this, like you can go in like, all right, I'm gonna do a campaign. Now I'm gonna go do a few like arena matches, and then I'll do some other like raid matches that might be going on as well. Like there's just a bunch of different like events going on at the same time that you kind of can like jump back and forth and like have some sort of like.
It's like every gacha game at that point.
Yeah.
Like how bad is the gacha is what I was curious about.
That's the thing. The gacha I think is actually pretty bad because it's not like Treasure Cruise where like you pull one guy and then you have that guy. Basically, you get like orbs, and you need so many orbs of that one character to unlock them.
Wow.
So, for example, Hawkeye, you need 15 orbs to get him. And to do that, I would have to go to the missions that had the Hawkeye orbs in them and replay them, which you can just like auto do. Like you press a button, just finishes the mission for you.
Nice.
Like, you don't even run through the animations. It's just go, you're done. And then you can get those rewards, or you get them in like a loot box you can get as well.
I'm guessing there's characters that you can only get their orbs from the loot boxes, or no?
Yeah, from what I can see, but like I still get like a solid like 6 loot boxes a day, which is pretty impressive because you just have so much stuff you're going and working for like seamlessly at the same time. You get the monkey, like I pull lever, I get banana.
Neuron activate.
Yeah, you get that neuron activate a lot of times. So I think that keeps you a little bit more engaged of like, okay, I spent my time on this and I got a lot out of it, and then you can move on for your day. God damn it, it sends so many fucking push notifications, it's actually absurd.
Turn those bad boys off. Now, like, sure you're doing a lot, but is the grind lengthy each day? Because that's the thing about, if a gacha's daily grind is too long, it's a real big put off for me.
I don't think so. No, I could run through most of the stuff like pretty quickly, and then like you get like energy back pretty quickly as well. So like you can, the biggest like I think a big part of it that I like over Treasure Cruise is that when you go through a level or a challenge and you 3-star that challenge, like you perfect it basically, it just says like from now on you don't have to play it. You just press the button, and we'll give you the rewards. Mm-hmm. So that kind of incentivizes you to like do really good when you first play them. but then also go back and like kind of restart all.
That's cool that you had to 3-star it, so like you have to put together a good team to do it, but then you don't have to do it again. Plus, because it's an RPG, you can play it while doing other stuff pretty easily, so that's not bad.
Yeah, so like when I'm doing like Warhammer or like I'm waiting on a phone call or something, I'll just like have it and I'll do like a match and then I'll do whatever else I need to be doing. So, but like I think also like it's also just nice looking for a phone game. Like it looks pretty decent and good, I think. It doesn't have like those 2D quality images that like Treasure Cruise does, but like, you know, for a 3D game, they have some great animations. I think it's an overall solid game. I think the gacha part is like pretty heavy. Like I wasn't feeling satisfied in getting characters until like maybe like a few days ago, when it's like, all right, now I'm consistent, because I also had to figure out how the system works, because you have this gear up options, and when you gear things up, like also every character has like 3 or 4 abilities, which is really cool. So they can each be doing different things, which is really neat.
Yeah, better than some gachas where it's like the character's one ability is useless, so they will almost never get played.
Right.
Well, that's enough free talk for Marvel. If they want us to talk about it again, they could sponsor our ass. Come on.
Yeah, I see your ad. You got the ad money.
Yeah, give us a sponsorship.
Yeah.
HelloFresh, reach out to me. I've used your service and I like it.
All right, y'all talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to run to that bathroom.
Yeah, Tyler and I have been playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's been going pretty good.
We sure...
You are muted.
Interesting.
I've like pressed my mic button like 3 times.
Oh, jeez.
It was like, I don't know. Yeah, Willer, we sure have. You struggled there for a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Came out when we did the last podcast, and Tyler talked about it for like 3 sentences. I was like, well, all right. And then since then, you, me, and our friend Keith have been playing a lot more of it. And I try not to play this game all the time, because once I start, it's really hard to stop. It's really easy to get into the one more with these Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels.
Don't got any more of that Yu-Gi-Oh!
We're jonesing about it during the workday. I'm thinking about my main card, Deep Sea Diva, and being like, man, thinking of her.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. This is the second best iteration of Yu-Gi-Oh! That Konami has released. Second best.
What would you say is the first?
I would say the Legacy of the Duelist that came out on the Switch is actually the best.
So I would agree with that, except that one comes with all the cards and you get them, and I think you might be able to buy DLC like card inflections, but not packs. Like
you buy packs. You buy from like specific people packs.
But like you're not. It's not like a card draw, as I recall. You just buy those cards that show up in the game, as far as I recall. Anyways,
so the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game is a free-to-play rendition of the current contemporary version of Yu-Gi-Oh!
And it's outdated by like 3 months or so, 4 months.
That's by booster packs, and there's some reasons that have to do with OCG stuff in that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always had 2 different metas, North American and Japanese, which is just absurd. Like Konami is the worst fucking card game maker. Like the Brony card game might actually be better than this game, and that's not even exaggeration.
What do you mean it might actually be? Implying it's not the best game.
I hate Konami. I hate their decisions around this game, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not like Genshin Impact, where it's like, oh, there's so much potential. It's like, no, this is just... If you play card games, you know Yu-Gi-Oh's not a good card game. I've played it before. I played it back. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! About in 2008, 2009. And I played it till about 2015. So I played about for like 7 or 8 years. I played through Dragon Rulers format, which is like one of those tier 0 decks. I didn't play Zodiacs. I got out right before that. And if you know what any of that is.
Apparently Zodiacs are the best deck right now, so I guess you never really left.
They have Broad Bull bans still, I think, so it's not that bad. They've always been at least splashable.
What I've learned about this endeavor is how insane Tyler's knowledge of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the contra to my Pokemon knowledge, because this fucker knows everything.
I know a lot.
I guess so.
I went to some regional tournaments that had like upwards of like 500 people there.
Nice.
I went there with like my little Rogue Noble Knight deck, which Rogue is a deck that nobody sides for. They're just like, oh, what the fuck are you playing? But when I play my Rogue deck, I can side for everybody. Very convenient. And that was before like Kaijus and Creature Swap were really heavy in the game. So I got like top 32 out of like 500 people. Yeah, I was there at like 9 a.m. until like 10 p.m. that fucking day. It was such a long day.
Good hustle.
Yeah. But the main problem I have is they have done free-to-play, like free-to-play card game economies exist and they are healthy. Legends of Runeterra has a good card game economy. Gwent has the best card game economy.
Girl.
Shout outs to Teppen.
And Teppen probably has a good card game economy. I haven't played it. I can't
The battle pass pays for itself every time, so cool. That's nice.
Yu-Gi-Oh has the worst card game economy I've seen. Probably like this is borderline Star Wars Battlefront terms of like economy, where it's like you have to play 2,000 hours to unlock Darth Vader.
I super disagree. You can get in and make a deck like on your first day.
So yeah, let's talk about that. When you make a game, when you start playing this game, they give you like $500-$600 worth of gems right up front, and you can make like 4 or 5. Like you make like 2 to 3 decks of really what you want,
and you get crafting materials that are pretty fairly distributed. IMO, but
a little bit, but like you still need. They have something called secret packs, which I really like a lot. Secret packs are basically a pack of a certain archetype, and after pulling like 2 to 3 times, you can pretty much get every card you need for that, which at the beginning of the game is very easy to do. That's like 30 pulls of cards. And in like terms of real term money, I would say that's anywhere from $30 to $40, which is how much you would pay for like a
32 gets you like 4,000 gems, so that's 40 packs.
So if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, you would know like if you want to get in, sometimes they release things called structure decks. They're $10 and you get a deck out of it. What most people do is they go to the store, they'll buy 3 copies of that structure deck, $30, get you 3 copies of like the main key cards you need, and you have a good deck to just start playing with. You go at it. So it's decent in terms of that, and you'll get some other super and ultra rare cards in it. You dismantle them, and you can get your
big boss monsters from the deck you're trying to make by dismantling other cards.
Yeah. So in terms of that, it's fair. It's not going to be super expensive. It is good. You can get Borlo Dragon, Savage Dragons, everything you need, all the ritual cards you need, traps, staples, you can craft them all. Like, there is no straight up RNG to loot box to win. You can pay to win and get the cards you want, by crafting them. It just takes a while. But in terms of the free-to-play economy, is absolutely abysmal, because once you're done with those gems that they give you out the front, you don't get any more. And I knew that once I started playing the game. I go, you are going to get thousands and thousands of gems. You're going to get 100 gems per day logging in, which is 1 pool of pack. To pull 10 packs, which you have to pull 10 packs in order for the chance to get an ultra rare. If you by some chance don't get an ultra rare in one of those 10 packs, your next 10 pull will guarantee an ultra rare. So here's the thing, if you're pulling from secret packs, you need to make sure you have 2,000 gems just in case of the slim chance you don't get an ultra rare, which is possible. It's happened to me. So once they're done giving you those hundreds of gems every day, it's like log in, 20 gems. Play a daily, 20 gems. Complete this long mission of like get 10,000 life points, 100 gems. It is going to take weeks to get back up to a 10 pool.
Every time I've played this week, I've gotten 1,000 gems every day.
Really?
You just need to play ranked. You don't get.
I play 3 ranked matches, and like I was doing that.
You played 3
before the reset.
Like you need to be playing ranked because they will give you gems for just playing, and that's where also all the missions are ranked specific missions. There's also something called Event Duel, but none of those are active right now.
Yeah.
So I've done a bunch of multi-polls just from playing a couple ranks every day.
the free cards you get from playing ranked are not dismantleable,
Yeah,
which is bad.
I hope
'Cause
they add cards into that pool over time to make up for it. That's the
they
only
won't.
thing. Yeah.
Well, no. So it's I think the UX needs to be a lot quicker. It is not quick enough. Sometimes your opponent can take turns that are upwards of like 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh problem.
Yeah. This is very much if you need to have like Warframe, Final Fantasy 14, something else on the side to play casually while you play this game. Let your opponent do all their summoning, and then once they're done, just look at their field and be like, okay, they've got this card that can negate, this card that can negate. All right, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
There's no interaction too much in the turns unless you have like Effect Veiler, Maxi, Ash Blossom,
A trap that you can activate, yeah.
Yeah. But the most idiotic thing I think is Konami's going to try and create a new meta out of Master Duel that's different than the TCG and OCG. The TCG and OCG already having different metas is fucking stupid. Having a new digital, it's just beyond infuriatingly idiotic. Why the fuck Konami is creating 3 different metas in card games, because you play with people globally in this game. I cannot understand why they're like, let's make 3 different metas when it just doesn't fucking matter. That's my rant about it. That's my vent. This game is very fun to play with friends.
All that aside, we play this game a lot, and I also think it's fun to play against other people to get the rewards, because it's not that bad. I mean, like,
but a lot of people who who like Yu-Gi-Oh! And the concept of it, they want to play Blue Eyes White Dragons and Dark Magicians and stuff.
You're goddamn right.
You got a storm coming, bud.
Yeah. This is not, if you have not played Yu-Gi-Oh! In 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, and you just want to play for fun, this is a good game to pick up with your friends and just have fun.
Now, I have
cards and make everything, but me and Willer like to play meta. We like to be competitive. This is not a beginner-friendly game.
And, like, I've seen people who have not played, but, like, they played before even Synchros, and they have gotten back into it. But there's no sugarcoating that it will be a learning process for you to get back into it. What I recommend is you do the summoning tutorials. They're not very good in this game, unfortunately, but you do them. You find a deck list that people win with. You build that deck, and then you grind out that deck until you get it. And that's where I hit this week. Last week, I was so salty about this game. I just didn't understand why my deck was so lackluster when it's supposed to be a deck that's supposed to win. Like, we play tier 1 and 2 decks, not the really, really good shit, but stuff that lets us compete, and actually play the game without, like, doing baby, like, we're playing the decks we used to play when we were 13. Like, that's not real Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. We do get the real experience of, like, when I go off, I summon 7 monsters in 1 turn. It's like, that's what I signed up for, I guess, but yeah, like, it takes a lot of work to be able to bounce into this game if it's been a while. Like, I'm interested to see how it goes for Kelly, because I at least know the summoning types because I played Legacy of the Duelist, a lot of the single player. So I at least understood how that works. Coming in and not knowing any of the summoning types is supposed to be quite the wall. That is scalable, but it is not easy.
Yeah, the game is completely new to her because she played, like, in OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Back before they even, like, had too many... Like, I think she played in Master Rule 0 when you didn't have to tribute summon.
Whoa.
Yeah. So she's having fun, though. And, like, I had a lot of fun playing the solo modes. Lets you experiment with new decks. You can get a lot of good cards from those beginner decks and play them.
I will say the solo mode drives me angrier than the PvP battles because there's games where you have to play a set deck and your opponent will have a better version of that set deck because it's all under the same archetype. And it's like, you just have to get the right hand or you lose.
The World Chalice section is actually just lottery.
Christ.
Like, you have these shittiest Link monsters, and all of your cards are, like, normals. you have the shittiest cards, and it's like, beat this tier 1 archetype that just special summons 8 times in one turn.
It's rough. All this being said, Joe should play it. I think you'd have fun. You can make your vampire deck, and we can fight each other.
Known bad deck vampires.
Really? Oh no.
I really
play vampires, but Tyler was talking about how it's bad.
I really like vampires. I say that as I'm like, I really want to make vampires, and I'm about to scrap a zombie deck. Vampires are zombies, by the way. I was like literally, I think I'm gonna scrap my other zombie deck and make vampires because I like them so much.
If Joe jumps in and makes a vampire deck, I will make a low tier deck to match him.
I could help him make a vampire deck. I would be so down. I have really good zombie knowledge.
I'll play Elemental Heroes. I don't think they're too crazy, right?
E-Heroes are actually, like, I watched a deck tier list video today. This guy, he had best, tier 1, tier 2, rogue, and don't make it. He put E-Heroes in tier 2, which a lot of, like...
That's where I like to play.
Tier 2 is where Madolche is, and also,
Fuck.
yeah.
Is Mermail tier 2?
He didn't talk about mermaids. He talked about Paleozoic frogs.
I climbed to gold with a don't make deck, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in a don't make deck, but mermaids, he didn't talk about them because they just haven't been relevant. He talked about, I think, 40 different archetypes.
That's a lot. But that's what's cool about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, as much as this game is bullshit, like, I kind of like to see, like, Keith plays these machines that have beautiful card art, and I'm just like, this is pretty neat. Like,
yeah,
it's like a bunch of Jetcraft, like ghost Jetcraft carriers that like swarm the field. I'm like, these look really pretty. Like the card art is what decides if I played the archetype, which is just weird, but it is what it is.
Like, that's Mech Phantom Beast, and he didn't really talk about it, but like anything that's probably been like notably seen at a tournament in the last 4 to 5 years, he talked about.
Could you send me that video?
Yeah, absolutely.
Post it on the
chat.
But
it's really cool because I think there's a lot of range on there. I like to play the rogue decks, which is what he talked about. Like, Noble Knights is considered a rogue deck. Lightsworn is considered a rogue deck, and so is DDD. And these are decks that it's like you can really get away with playing, and if your opponent doesn't know what you're about to do, you will catch them off guard, and you have options. There's a lot of options in this game for what you can play, and I also think Duel Master should be the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! And here's one thing I was trying to talk about this the other day. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is noted for being one of the most cheated in card games.
I could totally see, like, it's so easy to like not read an effect and just lie.
Yeah.
When every character cheats in the anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of the game.
Exactly.
Okay. Literally, so many of the top players, if not all of the top players, cheat all the time. They do sleight of hand shuffling.
Oh my god.
Marking cards.
Yo.
Deck switching.
Can I get a documentary on this? This sounds fascinating.
Yes, there are several.
Yeah.
I will send them to you. But the fact that this game eliminates so many scummy players out of the formula makes the game so much more fun to play. Not everybody is playing a competitively viable deck. You'll learn real quick why your 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons won't be able to beat, like, so many other shit.
My Mermails lost to a Blue Eyes deck. Blue Eyes can be real if you do it right.
They can be, but you'll, like, players will learn really quick, like, how to make that good.
Yeah.
Like, you can play Dark Magicians.
That's cool, yeah.
Are actually a top tier deck.
I'm seeing Dark Magicians in gold tier that I'm fighting, and I'm kicking their ass, but they're putting up a fight.
When I was in high school, I lost my innocence because I was still in the whole mindset of, well, Blue Eyes White Dragon, the best card. But I was watching these people play, and like one guy, it was like they shuffle their decks, they shake hands, and then turn 1, he has 4 zombies on the field, and I'm like, what the fuck? Blue Eyes could never. You have to sacrifice 2 monsters just to get them on the fucking field.
It takes like 3 turns.
There are still a lot of problems with the game that transfer over from the TCG. Like, Max C is in Duel Master, and it's banned in TCG, which is like mind blowing. There's like
So
things.
Maxi is a
like
card that. Hold on, I think it's worth noting. Maxi is a card that lets you draw every time your opponent special summons. If you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh, every turn is 7 special summons, so that's 7 you cards you get to draw.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that exists to keep people in check here and there, but slow. I like the stuff that slows the duel down to where it ends on turn 4 and 5 as opposed to turn 2.
Yeah, I agree. There are things like Drytrons that need to be in check, and it's not even Drytron specifically. It's the stupid fairy card. It's the fairy support cards that they have in it, like the ritual monster that has unlimited bans. Like there's a card that players can summon almost every turn 1, and they're like they can negate every card you play out of your starting hand.
Negates are the most unfun part of Yu-Gi-Oh, because some decks go crazy with it. I do have a combo that lets me put up like 3 negates on the field, 4 negates on the field, so I'm a bit of an asshole, I will say.
Yeah, and for some decks that are in those like top tier rogue and like decks, even they struggle to deal with those negates, and it's what kind of makes those interactions unfun. If you play against tier 2 decks, tier 1 decks, and rogue decks, I think if you just have those, and if you remove the top 5 decks from the game, which are like Drytrons, Prank Kids, Eldelich, Sky Strikers, if you Virtual Worlds, and they're like heavy negate fields, the decks they're being replaced with, I think, are much healthier. They still special summon as much, but they have less gates that prevent the other opponent from playing their game, which is what makes those top meta decks all about.
All to say, Yu-Gi-Oh! Awful game. I'm probably going to play it after we're done with this podcast.
Yeah.
We're having a ton of fun. We're scratching the 4 a.m. mark, and we have work the next day. It's like, okay, actual last one.
I got any more of them card games?
Oh, shit, man. You got any more games? Last topic, boys. Pokemon Arceus came out, and it's as bad as everyone expected, except in an incredible plot twist, it's actually kind of great.
I think
more news at 11.
I'm kind of mad at the advertisers because they didn't show any of the stuff that I actually like about the game. Like they only showed stuff I don't like.
It's true. They did not make that game look good. I think worth noting, this game is like the evolution of what the wild area in Gen 8 was, except it's so much better executed in this because someone compared this game to a Monster Hunter game. Sort of?
Sometimes.
So, I guess you're going to a zone, but it is like those zones feel pretty open worldy to me. So
I think there's no, that's very reaching.
It's like
that's a little too reaching.
Yeah. Like in Monster Hunter, everything's an arena. In this game, it just feels like 4 small open world areas, and they're great. I was mostly worried because even in the DLC where the wild area is better in Gen 8, it's just the terrain is not interesting. You'll get a couple slopes here and there, but it's very flat. This game has pretty solid terrain. There's rocks, and what matters is the placement of trees, grass, and rocks and water actually matter with how you play the game, because a lot of the game is also like a stealth game and like a Pokemon Snap-ish wait for the moment game. Mm-hmm. So slight variations in the terrain actually matter, because I had say what are they called, outbreak of Rhyhorns, but they all spawned on this area with no grass, no cover, but one fucking rock. So I had to camp this rock and slowly pick away at every Rhyhorn in the outbreak, trying to get a shiny, and it was kind of fun. It was a different experience than all the other catching I did throughout the game. So I like stuff like that.
I'm loving the game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's one of my top Pokemon games of all time.
Yeah.
Because I like the offbeat Pokemon games like Conquest and Coliseum.
Yeah.
I like the battle system in it. Willer doesn't.
So I don't dislike the battle system, and I think it works well for this game. I just like how it's simple. I dislike how it's simplified. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I say this game is a game for people who don't like Pokemon anymore, which I'm like, Joe would like this game. I feel like you'd enjoy it, Joe, and you're being hesitant about it, but it's like
This game is
I
hard.
still wanna play it.
it's
This
gonna
game is hard.
it's gonna be the best Pokemon game you've played in like 7 years.
Wait, Joe hasn't started playing it yet?
No, I'm not gonna get
Yo,
it. I have no
I
interest in
am-
playing this game.
I am like, I was probably the biggest hater of this game before I started playing it. And I still hate on it a little bit, but it is.
Oh, it deserves a little
It's-
hate. Let's
I
be
think it
honest.
Let's be real.
So here's my thing. Number one, Game Freak needs to hire world designers. They have no world designers that have experience making it's like they didn't hire any new staff or do any research into open world.
I
Tried it.
No, I'd like their open world is fine. Like it's not Breath of the Wild, but you're not climbing. That's if this game had climbing, ironically, which Joe said is the reason he wasn't going to get the game because it had climbing. I was like, there's no climbing. I wish there was climbing.
They have Skyrim horse physics.
Yeah, you have to jank your way up with word or.
Tyler gave me the controls like, Joe, try to climb on this rock, and I pressed up, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? Like it's just super jank.
It controls well actually. Like it feels really good to move around in this game.
Not on that rock.
Not on that rock,
not
I'm
on the
sure.
I
Like-
hate the open worlds. Like they look so bad. They're
Okay,
so
do you mean
empty.
visually or like? I don't understand because like I think layout wise, there's little nooks and crannies that are differentiated enough to where I'm like, yeah, there's like a slightly different game experience based on the location I'm in here. Like there's this area where there's a lot of water and it's a skinny strip of land and like the Pokemon there are strong, so you have to kind of like do away like you have to do a lot more combat in that area because there's less areas to hide and all the Pokemon
So
there are more aggressive.
In open world games and level design things, one thing to talk about is generally called points of interest. And this is also done in environmental landscaping and environmental design. And it's called points of interest. And those are physical features that you can denote and easily demark like the land and where you're at.
Yeah, they don't really have that here. Instead, they have point of interest Pokemon spawns.
Is nothing good to look at in any of the open worlds. They all like the first. So I've been to 3 places. All the ground looks the same. All the grass looks the same. All the rocks look the same.
That's not true. The World 2 has like that yellow grass that looks like hay.
Okay, sorry. They changed
No,
the
I'm
color
just
of the grass.
saying, like, and World
You're
3,
right.
World
they
3
changed the
has
color of the grass.
has like the bleached ground because it's in a sand area. But you're right, there are no point of interest. Instead, it's like that's where the Snorlax usually is, and he's scary.
Yes, and that is just going from Genshin Impact where it's an open world and everything looks so good and there's so many at least even just using the terrain tool, things look physically different in Genshin.
Okay,
And
you're
that's
talking
all-
about the best open world ever made versus a low tier open world. Like, come on, compare it to like Xenoblade at least, something in like its actual tier ranking.
All right, Breath of the Wild, let's talk about that.
That's the reason it pisses me off is because here's the thing. Yes, there are worse looking games and shit. There's worse designed open worlds by far. Like even this, and I might get hate for this. I think this open world is so much better than Oblivion.
But it looks better in that screenshot we handpicked.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say. Bradley just had to compare this to Oblivion.
I just compared it with Xenoblade.
When did Xenoblade come out?
Xenoblade 2 came out when the Switch came out a year or two after, so it's not that far away.
Cool. So it came out on the Switch. Bradley just compared this to a game that came out from 2006.
He did it because of the meme that was.
I think my main problem is just like, I mean, like it looks all right, but it should look great. The Pokemon Company is one of the highest grossing media franchises.
It doesn't
of all
look
time.
inspiring, and that's the problem.
The thing is, Pokemon is in the most cutthroat release schedule outside of a yearly sports game. Like,
That's the thing.
it's them and then Pokemon. And sure, they have the money for it, but I don't think they like. I think Nintendo tries to be pretty all right with crunch. And I will take an ugly-looking game if I know it was made a little more ethically than the big Bethesda game that's going to come out soon, because you know those people are going to suffer.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I agree.
I hate how it looks. I don't like to bitch about graphics ever, but I'll say a good thing and a bad thing. This game, when I'm playing it, 90% of the time looks like absolute shit. The textures look like shit. Like, there is a character who has, like, tattoo textures on her clothes, and they are pixelated. I looked at it on a 1440 monitor, a 1080 big screen, and a regular 1080 TV. It is super pixelated. Like, I'm talking, this looks like 360 resolution. Like, you just opened up a YouTube video.
That's just the Hisuian style, man. You wouldn't get it.
Fuck you. It looks like shit.
No, of course, yeah.
So bad. And, like, the overall quality and art choices they have made in this game are terrible.
The art I think the textures are the big lacking thing. I think this game looks fine 70% of the time, and then 30% of the time it looks genuinely ugly.
The Pokemon look really good.
It's probably the best they've ever looked.
They feel alive in the world they exist in.
And not like they're not crazy, like, they don't feel like a Monster Hunter monster in liveness, but they're alive enough.
But, like, Abras are floating, and they do Abra-looking things and teleport.
I like how, I like how Ghastly's work, where they'll teleport and, gank you with a Shadow Sneak.
Yes. They feel alive, and the moves look really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I will say those three good things, but those three things do not override how bad it looks the rest of the time.
They don't override it, so you hate the game, because those things don't override.
I hate looking at this game. Like, blind me and then let me be, like, hearing this game, like, beeps where Pokemon are or some shit. I would probably have more fun.
So, back to the combat, because no one's going to argue this game looks great, because it doesn't. But it does run better than Breath of the Wild, so it has that going in that battle. But I don't think it runs better than Xenoblade, so it's losing there. I will say, in the battle system, they simplified it by removing abilities and items. You should never remove abilities from Pokemon. Items, debatably, I still think they help you make builds, but it's a single-player focused game. And I think items are really mostly for PvP, especially, is where they shine. But I think abilities are a good way where, like, if you have two Pokemon of the exact same type, there's only so much that a stat breakdown can do to differentiate them. That's where the ability comes in. The thing is, they turned it into a conditional turn-based like Final Fantasy X. And while that works really well sometimes, there's also times where it's like, you switch to Agile style, it doesn't change the turn order at all. And then you switch to Strong style, it also might not change the turn order at all. So it's like, I don't know how well this is functioning sometimes. And then there's also scenarios where, like, and Wolfie brought this up, and this could never become the mainline Pokemon game because it removes all complexity of you and your opponent making the move at the same time. It's so reactionary. You never have to guess what your opponent's going to do because you see it and then you will react, and you know that you will react next. So it takes out, like, what I consider to be the thing that made Pokemon combat actually work is the predictions that you have to do as you both input your move at the same time.
So here's why, like, they took out a foundational pillar of Pokemon, which is Wolfie's entire life, which is PvP.
Yeah.
They took that out, and they said, what would a Pokemon game be like if you didn't have to ever compete against another player?
And a thing that comes out of it, though, is that they've tweaked the damage formula to make this... I'm not nuzlocking this game. I think I should have led with that. That means so much because I can't stand playing Pokemon normally. It's just so unfun to me. And this game is well balanced enough to where the weirdest thing I'm doing is not healing. Like, I'm not using the bed to heal when I'm in an excursion. If I lose a Pokemon, I just switch it out with another one I'm raising. But aside from that, I'm playing pretty normally, and it feels good to be able to play a Pokemon game without having to, like, kneecap myself to have fun with the combat system. And, like, I say that this is a game made for people who don't like Pokemon because, like, I have gotten what I want for 8 generations, where I just want the Pokemon combat system and an adventure that I can tweak my rule set to have fun with. This time, it's like, no, you can't really do that the same way, nor do you need to. And I'm fine with that because I'm having fun either way. The real best part of the game, I think, is the Pokedex. I think they did something brilliant here.
That is so cool, dude.
Yeah. Bradley, why don't you talk about the Pokedex? What do you like?
I like that. The one thing I've always thought was kind of dumb about the Pokedex is like Professor Oak sends you a 10-year-old out, and then you catch one Pidgey, and then the Pokedex is filled out. We know everything we need to know about Pidgey. I think it's cool that like, okay, we got to see what happens to this Pokemon if you approach it this way, or if I don't like. There's different objectives for each Pokemon. Which number one was a good idea because if it was the same objectives for every Pokemon,
that would have ruined that system. I think that would have broken that system completely.
But it gives you shit to do. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like I am enjoying just filling out that Pokedex. I'm progressing slow because I'm having such a fun time exploring and so the Pokedex works in this game. Like in case Joe doesn't know, for example. It's like
you have different like tabs and everything of tasks you need to do.
Yeah, you have tasks you need to do with each Pokemon. Each Pokemon would have like catch them 30 times as their first task and defeat them 30 times as their second. But then every other task is dependent on the Pokemon, such as some of them. Yeah, but you don't need to do it all to get the game completion. I'll get into that in a second. It'll be stuff like sneak up on the Pokemon and catch it without it noticing you, or feed it with a berry, or see it do this move, or defeat it with this type of move. And then other weird scenarios like Geodudes can pop out of rocks. So one of them is like see them pop out of the rock enough times. And it's repetitive, but like in a good way. We're like, yeah, I just want to come in and have stuff to do in this world. Like it's the good kind of repetitiveness that I think adds to the gameplay experience as opposed to like detract from it, because you only need to do a fraction of those tasks to technically complete your dex on that Pokemon. You can then go above and beyond and fill out every single task, and what that does is it raises your shiny odd for that species. So they did it really smart where like you don't have to get super grindy to actually complete the entry for Starly, for example. You just need to get 10 levels worth, and some, like for Starly example, it could be like you get double the points if you complete the feed it task as opposed to if you do the catching task. So each Pokemon ends up being a bit of a puzzle when you see them in the wild. The way you approach them is different because of how you're trying to complete those tasks, and I think that goes a long way in making it feel better. The Pokedex itself has like 250 Pokemon, which is not bad. If it had 50 or 100 more, I think it'd be perfect. You see a little more like niche cases, like for example in the first area there's a Togekiss that has a spawn and it'll always be flying off the map, and you have to throw a wing ball to catch it.
A wet ball.
Oh yeah, a wing ball that goes really far and fast. There needs to be, if the dex was a little bigger, there'd be more cases like that. But either way, the Pokemon, you catch them differently enough to where it handles the deck size pretty well. I will say my bummer is that there's not enough Hisuian forms. There's only 15, I think.
Yeah, but man, the ones there are pretty fucking sick.
I unfortunately got spoiled on like the only one I hadn't seen yet today on Twitter. I got so fucking mad. I was so close to.
I think the Decidueye one's fucking sick.
I haven't seen the starters actually, but I think I saw Typhlosion today. Like the fan art's coming. I saw Hisuian Gudra, and I was like, "Fuck! I wish I didn't see that."
Here's what I'm thinking, right?
Why you do that?
Well, it's just a name, bro.
It's just a name.
Yeah, just fuck you. I didn't know Decidueye had a Hisuian form.
All the starters have Hisuian forms.
I know that now, Bradley. After I got it.
I thought everybody.
Tyler didn't know what Cleaver was, so I was like, "Hey, I got Cleaver." He's like, "How did you get one?" I was like, "I evolved Scyther."
No,
and he didn't even know. He didn't.
Bradley, if you didn't know, as I'm getting older, my rule this year is so like I had a philosophy last year that was to stop watching media news outlets and not give a shit about anything that happens ever anymore. Like terrorist attack happened like down the street from me. Who gives a shit? Like I know it's not gonna interrupt
good old nihilism.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have spoiled Gudra, but I thought like it's like a Dumbledore thing. Like I just genuinely thought everybody knew the starters.
Nope.
Had.
My other one I started at the end of last year was I maybe watched one trailer or absolutely zero. Pokemon Arceus, I saw the very first one that everybody hated, and I was like, I'm gonna like this game. I'm gonna get it. I will enjoy it.
That's not the tune you were tuning earlier this month, but whatever.
What are you talking about? I was always gonna get this.
Before the game came out, you were talking mad smack.
Okay, fine. Quote me.
I'll find it later. Whatever.
Quote it.
Look,
We're doing a podcast. I'm a professional.
here's where I'm sitting on the game, right? For me, this reminds me a lot of... They're very different games, but where this is sitting for me is in a similar place as Let's Go, actually, because both of them have So neither of these games, I'm gonna say, like, oh, every Pokemon game should be like this from now on. Just make every Pokemon game like this. I don't think that. But both of these games each had, like, a handful of mechanics where I'm like, every Pokemon game from now on needs to have this.
It's like, I actually see this as a, like, follow-up to Let's Go in a way, because it's so catch-focused. But the cool thing is you can battle the Pokemon still, and we didn't mention the battles are so much faster. That's the real takeaway. They need to make battles this speedy in the future, and everyone will be happier even if they go back to the old style.
And what makes the game a lot more smooth to go through is Let's Go introduced the whole no random encounters thing. You actually see the Pokemon walking around, which is what I've always wanted. So, like, the fact that you don't run into a Zubat every 5 steps is, like, huge.
And except you run into Paris. Paris is so fucking aggressive in this game. I don't understand. What crawled up is this? Now, I will say, I do hope they make more Legends games, and I just hope they bring back abilities. They can keep the battle system focused on single player. There's a thing, though, if they could stand to go the next level, if they're gonna, like, kind of dumb down the battle system and remove a bunch of moves, take the full step, don't make it turn-based, make it ATB, like a Final Fantasy game. Because this game lets you move around during combat. Your trainer actually can get hit during combat and get knocked down. However, they're not taking damage. Imagine a game where it's ATB, and you can still have the priority stuff, because that works right into ATB, but the positioning of both trainers actually matters, and you can knock out the trainer as well as the opponent, or as well as the opponent Pokemon.
Actually, the thing when I was watching the videos that made me go, like, I don't like that, was the fact that you get into a battle and your trainer runs around but is not interacting with the battle.
Oh, man.
The thing is, Joe, here's something cool you can do. You can start a battle, click in the final attack, and start spreading in the other direction, and the fight will finish behind you like an explosion, and then, like, you just keep moving on. There's a weird good feeling about John Wick no-scoping a bunch of Bidoofs and then killing the Shinx and walking away while he's dying.
But what it's actually for, Joe, and before you have any more opinions, I'm going to tell you what it's actually for. Is because this is a free world camera that does not take you to a different arena zone to have the Pokemon battle play out.
I understand
that. You can move the camera around. No other reason. No other reason.
I understand that. But I just think it's... Because to me, in my mind, is that if you get into a fight with a Pokemon, you can kind of, like, essentially get out of jail free by summoning your own Pokemon, and your guy is kind of safe at that point.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I feel like the intensity should be... When you get into a fight, it should be from start to finish, like, oh god, I need to survive the entire time. Even when your Pokemon is out. Even if you have to avoid collateral damage from your own fucking Pokemon.
That's the thing, you can get hit by your own moves. I just wish it did damage. That'd be so cool. And then different attacks could have splash ranges, and you need to be standing accordingly, or like,
you know what?
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, and then have the Pokemon move. You're going to make it 3D and have this camera that's free movement. Make the terrain part.
You can make the Pokemon can move on their own, and like they have different like move behavior. So some Pokemon get close or some stay far. The attacks don't have ranges, but they do have splash zones that you can be in. And I think that'd be a pretty fun.
And also you have to stay within a certain area of the Pokemon that you're training, or they won't listen to you or can't communicate with you. And then that tightens the arena, so you have to stay within that space.
I think next one they should just take that step if they want to do it.
But like, and that was the big thing, was just like, I looked at this, I'm like, okay, you want to make a survival game, but then when you get into the combat section, you eliminate the survival element until you finish that section. But that combat section should be the most intense part of your game.
Bradley?
I think a good middle ground would be like, because I'm gonna be real, I don't want to do that intense combat with every single wild Pokemon. Like
That's also
that would not, this game would not be relaxing.
You also don't fight every single wild Pokemon, to be fair.
That's the thing, but like, what I would rather is that scenario. I would like that for the boss fights, where like the boss is fighting your Pokemon, but it is also trying to kill you at any chance it gets. But like, if it's just a Starly, it's like, am I really running for my life every time I fight a Starly?
No, okay, the Starly is like, say it is for every fight. The Starly dies in 1 or 2 hits.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're gonna get hit, you will recover. Like, you don't have to heal your own trainer. Maybe they just like heal up after battle. I think that'd be a good in-between. And then the alpha Pokemon in the wild are the ones that you need to watch out for in this
Yeah, like
system.
an alpha Pokemon, that's the trade-off. Is like, holy fuck, I want an alpha Pokemon, but like,
if I engage in combat, they will like,
I know.
yeah, kill both of us. And then battles would be like, so the Pokemon manga has the trainers like really down and dirty, like Gold fights by using a cue ball to hit his Pokeball, so like make his Pokemon spawn at weird angles. And then you have the Crystal character, she's the girl, she like kicks the Pokeball. So like they're over there like jumping on top of their Pokemon while they're fighting and getting hit by collateral damage. They need to make these fights like the manga fights. That would be dope.
Yeah. I just, that was my big thing, is that like, why you're going to make this whole different experience? Why is your combat just kind of like a copy and paste of your previous combat with nothing really interesting?
It is quite different. It is like it plays more like a JRPG than a Pokemon game. If that makes sense.
But it's still like you're not utilizing what your game is about, and that's my big problem with it.
You're right. Legends 2, I would like to see some of these ideas maybe incorporated.
Now, what like ancient version of a region do you want to see in the next?
Legends Deoxys would be fucking rad, right?
Oh, like can you imagine like
Hoenn would be so fun.
Thousands of years in the past, Deoxys crashed down, which I guess that would be a Hoenn region if we did Deoxys.
Exactly. I think the coolest would be Legend Necrozma. Now Necrozma already has his own game technically, the Ultra games. However, the idea of seeing the freaky ass Ultra Beast actually like Colossus walking through the field is this dream. Like, I want Celesteela is like 11 feet tall and has giant cannon arms. I want to see that in the horizon, and when it spots you, it starts shooting cannon blast across the horizon.
That's actually great.
Shadow
Is
of
you
the
have to do
Colossus
kaiju battles against them.
They're kaijus. Like, Xurkitree is this weird pile of electrical wires that's crawling at you. It could get.
Oh, God.
It could have horror sequences with the Ultra Beast. That's all I'm saying, because they're weird. I want Buzzwole to snap me in half.
Oh god.
In the game, not sexually, but maybe.
Now see, if I got to, no, I was about to say if I got to choose a region, because I wouldn't actually choose this. The one I would want most would be Johto, because I really love Johto and
Legend Celebi, maybe.
Yeah, like because Johto does have a lot of ancient shit going on. Like they have
the tower.
Yeah, they have like the tower and the ancient unknown ruins. You can see back when the ruins were new, and there's like maybe people living there. But the problem is, I think if they did like ancient Johto, it might look too similar to this game because it's a very feudal Japanese style region.
Yeah, they're all gonna be. I mean, they can make places.
They can change
different.
up like the aesthetic of each one. They don't all have to be.
Look, the graphics looking better will already make it look so like. Imagine it with decent graphics, it already like look better.
I would definitely go for like Legends Celebi or Legends Ho-Oh or Legends.
The thing, I could see them not doing the title legendaries, but also Celebi's like one of the sprites. Like
it would have to be the third one.
No,
like
you would finally get to use the GS ball.
Whoa! Every kid's dream. It could be like Legend Raikou or something. I don't know.
I'd kill for some non-Oblivion textures.
I think I want Legend Xerneas. Well, no, Legend Zygarde, because that Pokemon never gets used in anything. Unlike Kyurem got his own game, right? He's the third one who got his own. No, Zygarde never got a third game.
Hear me out. Legends Keldeo.
That's more up your alley.
Dude, that is a Pokemon, right? It's not like from something else. Like,
God, he's not that bad. You're so okay.
Pokemon Agumon.
Hey.
Pokemon Metal Garurumon.
All right, nose goes.
What does that mean?
Say nose goes. Oh, you lost, Bradley.
Well, I know that, but I didn't know what we were doing it for.
Well, I'm telling you, you have to pick the closing question discussion of the day.
Okay. So, hear me out. You are going to... This isn't like you're a Pokemon trainer, what type are you going to specialize in?
Mm-hmm.
This is like you are entering a tournament with... How many Pokemon types are there?
8, 17?
17? Well, you enter an anime tournament arc. Like, you're sleeping in your bed and some guy's like, I brought you here. You're the 17 biggest Pokemon fans in the world. You're going to draw out of a lottery and you're going to enter an anime tournament arc. And you get special anime attacks based on the type you draw.
Okay.
So, what type do you hope you would get? And for that type, what would you call your special move?
Now,
And it doesn't have to be a Pokemon move.
now to be fair, two generations already have super moves and names for the type super moves.
Oh, you're right.
I want to point out because the Z moves and the Max moves all have unique names
That's
for the
true.
type. I hope I get water, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And you
So not
use
still Willers. I would probably go for Darker Ghost.
Yeah.
Willer's special move is Spooky Splash.
No, my special move is Willer
That's my
Washer.
Oh. I would get Fairy type, and I would use Special Beam.
Cannon.
Special Beam.
You don't want to make cake?
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, you know what?
Well, it's on
my
the
move
team,
would
of
be-
course.
My move would be
Yeah.
Cake Maker.
Cake baker.
I would get Bug Pokemon,
Yeah.
Yes.
and my special attack would be Briefcase full of bees.
Why a briefcase?
Not comb bees or Vespiquins, just real fucking
bees.
bees. They attack the other
Actual
Pokemon.
bees. Has it ever bothered anyone that like they reference real life animals in Pokemon, but they don't exist?
We eat Tauros meat.
The
Wait.
Like
like there's like Arcanine or sorry,
It's a
Growlithe
dog
is
Pokemon.
the dog